What's up, you guys? Matt with Matt Biz coming at you with another video. Today we're doing something that's going to be probably irrelevant to a lot of people, but to a lot of people also is going to find this very helpful, hopefully. So we're doing an oil change on my wife's 2016 Toyota Camry. Again, this is nothing that's, you know, for a lot of people out there, it's going to just not even matter. But anyways, I'm doing an oil change on the car. Wanted to just kind of throw a few things in there and maybe I can help someone out. So let's get to it. One thing I always try to do, if possible, is make sure the engine's a little bit warm at least. Like right now, today, it's really cold out here. The car's been sitting all night. I'm doing this first thing in the morning. So actually, when I first came out here, I cranked up the engine, let it run for a few minutes, let it get warm, let the oil get moving. As it gets colder outside, that oil gets thicker and thicker. So, and even in the summertime, it's a good idea just to get that oil flowing, get that oil moving, before you drain everything. So we're going to get into it. And the first thing I always do is I always pull the oil cap off the engine and I leave it off until we have refilled it. Two good things. One, you're going to let, if you do have anything, if this cap is sealed up, it might create a suction inside the engine. It may not, I don't know, just something I always do. Plus it always lets you know, hey, don't crank the car, I don't have oil in it. So it's just an easy reminder, you know, if you kind of forget where you're at. But yeah, pull the oil cap off and we're going underneath. Okay, we're underneath here now. So the engine, I'm on the passenger side. So your engine oil pan is right here. Your drain plug is right there. And then this car takes an internal oil filter. So that's what you're going to need to take off to get the internal oil filter out. And you will need a special wrench to take that off. I will also show what a typical, like your older style standard oil filter looks like. I may put up a picture right here. But yeah, we're underneath here. First thing we're going to do is, of course, I have the vehicle jacked up. I have an oil pan underneath it. We're going to take that bolt right there loose. Now, it is a good idea on that bolt right there to go ahead and change those washers out. Every time there's like a O-ring / washer type thing that's going to seal that off, it is a good idea to go ahead and change that. I think it's recommended. I'm guilty of not doing it all the time. But yeah, it's a good idea, because last thing you want to do is spend all this money on an oil change and then have all your oil drain right back out of there. So I'm going to get that bolt right there taken out, get the oil draining, and then I will be back with you to show you a little more on this oil filter right here. So this is the wrench that my particular internal oil filter takes. You can see it's kind of just got some cuts in it, some notches in it. I'll get up underneath there and show you what the cap looks like and how it kind of goes on there. But that's the wrench that my specific internal oil filter cap takes. So we've got the oil draining. So this cap has this little silver piece right here. And what you're going to do is a regular 3/8 drive extension or ratchet will fit right in there. I can get it in there to turn, kind of hard to do. But basically you get the gist. That fits right in there. This silver piece will turn, and then the oil filter on mine comes with a little plastic piece that screws up in there. And once you screw it up in there, it'll actually allow you to drain this cavity where the oil filter is. And that way, when you do pull this whole black plastic cap off, you don't get soaked with oil as bad, in theory. So I'm going to get that taken out, get that draining, and I'll show you what that looks like. So it's hard to kind of show because I got the oil pan up in here, but there's a little piece that's screwed in. And it allows you to drain that little thing. So we got that draining. I can't really show the oil. There's the oil draining. And you always want to make sure you catch your oil. Don't drain it out on the ground. At least try to be a good human. Okay, so this is the little plastic piece that I said you were going to need that socket wrench for, or that special socket for. So this is the socket that fits mine. And you can see it's got those 3 little prongs. And those 3 little notches are going to line up just like that. and allow you to take that cap off. Now, once you take this cap off, this is where that silver piece was screwed into, just like that. You unscrew that. This is what comes with your oil filter. That'll screw into there, and then it'll allow you to drain this area. Now, I'm gonna tell you, it'll drain some, but it don't drain at all. So you are gonna get a little bit of oil on you when you do pull this cap off. But then your new oil filter will come with 2 O-rings. One is to replace this one, and the other one replaces this one. Now, I always, once I take this off, I always clean it up real good, try to wipe it down real good, take these O-rings out, you know, just kind of wipe everything down, make sure everything's good and clean, get as much of that old oil out as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and put new O-rings on here, and show you the filter. So this is the filter. This is the new oil filter. It is going to go right down in here, and it'll slide, that little cylinder right there will slide right down inside of that oil filter right there. What I will typically do is I will go ahead and put a little bit of oil in this. I won't completely fill it up so it's overrunning and everything, but I will go ahead and put a little bit of oil in this before I put it back on, just so there is some oil in the oil filter when the engine cranks on the first start. And you always want to take these O-rings. I always take some oil, some of the new oil, and wipe these O-rings down. Just put a thin coat. It ain't got to be running all over the place. Just make sure those O-rings are oiled up good. And the reason I say that is because if that O-ring is not oiled up good, and when you were screwing this back into the engine, if it was to catch, it can actually pull that O-ring down, pinch that O-ring, and then you have a good oil leak. So I always take a little bit of that fresh oil and kind of coat these O-rings down real good, the new ones, and then put it back on. So we got the new oil filter in there, new O-ring. You can see how it's just kind of shiny, it's oiled up. I went ahead and put the old O-ring on the bottom over here, actually hold it upright like this, and actually put that O-ring down in that channel and oiled it up, and then put this cap on. I mean, it's not cranked down, but it's snug, because trying to, once it's back up under the car like that, trying to hold that O-ring and keep it in place and it not get pinched and that sort of thing is just too much. So we went ahead and put that O-ring on there, got it oiled up, got that silver cap back on there, that plug, got the O-ring oiled up. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil in there, and she's ready to go back together. One other thing I did want to mention right quick, so that's where the oil filter is going to go. I do try and wipe that down a little bit, because like I said, it does make a little bit of a mess when you drop that oil filter. So just kind of wipe it down, clean it up just a little bit, make sure everything looks good, and then we're going to put the oil filter back in. Okay, so went ahead and got the oil filter back in. Everything's tightened up. I did also tighten up that little silver drain plug that's right there in the center, and I also got the drain plug back on the oil pan. I don't know if you can see it there. I got the drain plug back in there, wiped everything down, made sure everything looked good, and now we're going up top to add some oil to it. Okay, we're back up top. So I went ahead and pulled my dipstick right here. Now you're going to want to add some oil to it. Use a funnel, what have you. Go by your manufacturer's specs on what weight and the oil capacity. I believe this one takes 0W20. I believe, and it actually says it here on the cap on this particular one, 0W20. And I believe it's about 6 quarts, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dump 5 quarts in here, put the dipstick back in, check it, and then add accordingly. Okay, we got her filled up with oil. Got my little homemade funnel here. So we put 5 quarts of oil in it, and you can see, well, I don't know, maybe you can see. It's just over that top mark. However, once you crank the vehicle up and it gets all that oil moving, finishes topping off that oil filter, it should put it back about right. So I believe this vehicle is actually about 5 1/4, 5.5 quarts, something like that. I know I always get 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back underneath the vehicle, check for leaks, and I still have it up in the air. I'm going to check for leaks, and also I'm getting a little bit higher reading, probably because of the way the car is jacked up. Maybe not. But what I'll do is I'll get underneath the vehicle, check for oil leaks, let the jack back down. Then once I let the jack back down, I will check the oil again. If we have a good amount of oil in it, I'll go ahead and crank it up, check the oil again, and then top off as needed. So I'm going to get up underneath there, check, make sure I have no leaks, let the jack down, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to reset the maintenance light also. So you're going to go over to settings, and then you're going to scroll down, and there you see it right there, maintenance reset. Reset the maintenance reminder, maintenance reset complete. And then you're just going to go back out and back to the home screen. So there you have it, guys. I'm going to go underneath there and just check the oil one more time, just to make sure that everything is still topped off good. And then we're going to put some air in these tires. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see y'all on the next one.